everybody, so I've just been to see 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. A movie with a title that would lead you to believe maybe it was some kind of an art house flick or a Coen Brothers movie, but it's far from that. So this movie was written and directed by Martin McDonagh, and it stars Frances McDormand as a mother whose teenage daughter was raped and murdered 7 months prior. Wrestling with anger and grief and a police force that is basically not really seeming to do anything about it, she rents out 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. That's why it was called that. And plasters them with some phrases that basically are kind of a way not just to get revenge on the police, but to give them a bit of a push to do something. In the meantime, Woody Harrelson plays Chief Willoughby, who's in charge of the whole police force. And we also meet a whole bunch of other characters with some great actors such as Sam Rockwell, Peter Dinklage, and some Australian flavour thrown in the likes of Abbie Cornish and Samara Weaving. Abbie Cornish, who actually gets to keep her Australian accent, which was pretty cool. So this movie is essentially a dark comedy, a very, very dark comedy. This is the kind of movie that you'll have a scene which, you know, there's something really bad happening, but then, you know, through some lines of dialogue or something like that, you'll just burst out laughing. This is a really funny movie. I mean, this is one of these movies that the entire audience, and I was sitting in with a fairly packed crowd, everyone was just laughing out loud. But at the same time, there are some moments in this film that will shock you, that will genuinely, like, take a twist that you didn't expect and didn't see coming, and you're kind of sitting there like, wow, did that just really happen, and why am I laughing at it? It's a brilliantly crafted story, and it's kind of hard to know what you're getting in for. Like, I went into it thinking that, you know, it was going to be almost kind of like a murder mystery, like, you know, who did this crime, and that it was all going to be resolved in a neatly little tied package at the end. But it was far from that. This is a movie that explores themes such as how grief and anger can infect you if you let it. And a brilliant story about just the human spirit, about how choices that we can make in life can have consequences, things like that. It was a very deep movie. And I utterly loved so much how there were so many scenes in this film that told us so much about the characters without them saying anything. There were just little things that people did in order to tell us a lot about who they are, and it was brilliantly done. This is a really well written and directed film, especially the script is amazing. It's the kind of script that if you're a filmmaker, you're gonna want to go home and write something straight away. And the performances, oh, far out. This thing, the Oscars everywhere. No, look, Frances McDormand gave what I think is the best performance of her career. There were just so many little subtle nuances in her performance, in her facial expressions, things like that. Her character was amazing. She was tough as nails, but you loved her. Not just because of what happened to her with her daughter's situation, but I don't know, there's just something about the way that she delivered that hard as nails performance that was endearing in a way. And every character in this movie served a purpose. You know, there are some characters that you sort of think like, okay, why are they here? But later on, yeah, you know why they're there. It was a great looking movie as well. It wasn't like, you know, there was no cinematography that sort of had me like, wow, this looks incredible. It was as good as it needed to be. And yeah, look, I love nearly everything about this film. The only thing that let it down for me a little was towards the end of the second act, it did start slowing down a little bit to the point where, you know, I was kind of sitting there thinking to myself, okay, come on, get on with the next bit. And not only that, it also lost its comedic pacing to the point where basically in the third act there weren't really a lot of laugh out loud moments anymore. I understand that the story was being resolved, etc., but I don't know, at the same time, you know, everything else was so hilariously funny that I thought they could have kept that going. And I'm not 100% sure if I'm satisfied with the ending. Obviously no spoilers, never give spoilers on this channel, but it was kind of an ambiguous ending, and I'm not entirely sure if I was left satisfied with it. And it was one of those situations where I did hear a few people around me kind of going, "Ah, is that it?" But it might be one of those things that later on, after stewing on it and thinking it over, it might get better. But look, overall, I heartily recommend this movie. If you're after a really good, entertaining flick, go and check out 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Oh man, this title, woo! And I'm gonna give a 9 out of 10. So there it is, my first review for 2018. I know this movie came out in the US, I don't know, a week or so ago, a couple of weeks, maybe a month ago, who knows? But it was only released here yesterday, so technically this does count as a 2018 movie for us Australians. And throwing it over to you guys, have you seen 3 blah 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 blah? Let me know what you thought of it. I hope you liked it as much as I did. Drop me some comments either here or on Facebook. All the social media links are in the description below, because I like to talk about movies whose names I have trouble with, and I would love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.